or at least a laptop. So that is a basic device that you require in order to access any application. Without that, it is not possible, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, yes.
Yes, correct.
So without any device, you cannot connect to the internet. I mean, internet is also second thing. You cannot access any app. If you want to access an app, you need a device. Is this understanding very clear? Because this is the most fundamental thing for everybody, everything. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now we talked about deployment. Say deployment. So what is required in order to deploy any application?
A platform.
Okay, good. You require a platform. Is it a single machine?
No, multiple machines.
Okay. Is it okay if you keep them separate?
I
Is
think
it okay?
yes. Yeah.
So it has to be bound in a particular network. That is the first thing. Correct? And then these servers must be connected together. Is it fine now? Yeah, two-way communication between all the servers must be there. What is it called? What is this setup called?
Cluster. Okay.
Unless you make it as a cluster, the incoming request, right, cannot go to all the servers, or it cannot reach all the servers from your interface. Just give me a second. What can we call this? This whole system, what can we call it as? What can we call it as?
Like
Not even a
deploying in a cluster, deploying the application.
No. Okay. Say what I'm asking is the whole setup.
Okay.
This particular setup that you are trying to access. What can you call it as?
As you said, is it a network?
The network is behind the scene, right? You don't get to see the network. I'll give you one more clue. Say, for example, you are accessing Amazon app or Amazon app, this one, website, to order some products. Say it is down. What do you say when the site is down? What do you call it as? What do you say to your friends or to your colleagues?
Maybe the servers are down.
Exactly, you got the point. You say that server down, correct? So you exactly got the point. So we call this setup as server.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
This is a very most fundamental thing for a DevOps engineer, or be it any development engineer, be it any operations engineer, be it any SRE, anybody. The server term is very, very important. Okay, clear? Did I make it clear?
Yes, Shankar.
Okay. So whatever we are doing is to make the server up and running. correct? What do we do in order to make the server up and running? We do monitoring. We do deployment. We do upgrades. We also do some proper health check. What is health check? It is something like checking your temperature, your body temperature, your other pulse, right? Like that. That is something that you can do on the server. Health check. Whether the particular port is running, particular service is running, particular service
CPU
is active.
utilization and all.
Yeah, that is at the monitoring level.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. See, this also comes into the monitoring, but health check is a primary thing in order to check. Say, for example, do you think about whether the person's BP is high or low if the pulse is not there? If the pulse is there, then only you go and check for BP, right?
Yes, Shankar, yeah.
Basically, health check is the primary check to identify whether the server is up and running. Once you identify the server is up and running, then go for further checkups like CPU utilization, memory utilization, performance, security, everything. Okay, clear?
Yes, Shankar, clear.
Any questions from Ganesh?
No, Shankar. Got it.
Got it, right? Okay. Moving further. So when we say application development, when a developer is working on coding, right? What is the first thing you require in order to test the code?
The requirement?
To be local laptop.
Local laptop, okay.
That is the development, we call it as development environment. Most of the times, it is your local system or your development laptop, company's laptop. In order to test it, what you are supposed to have? Any idea? Say, for example, you bought your phone, Android phone. In order to install any application, right? What is required? Play Store. Play Store is a basic app that installs application, right? Is it correct?
Yes.
Kind of like that, you will have a particular set of softwares, dependencies for you to install or deploy your software that is written. Okay, any questions so far?
No, Shankar.
Developer, we need a dev environment. For the testing team, what is the kind of environment required?
Testing environment.
Testing environment. What other environment you can think of?
Maybe monitoring and
Yeah.
operation. Yeah.
You do on top of the environment is monitoring, deployment, all this. But basically, These are the servers, which we call it as dev environment, staging environment, or test environment. What is the last thing that goes to the customer?
Release.
Production. Yeah.
Production.
Release.
Okay.
Customer is accessing the production environment. I think it is customer. It is a customer environment, that is production. We simply call it as prod. So we most of the time call the name with the prod. Just give me a second. Any questions so far with respect to environments?
No, Shankar, clear.
Ganesh?
No, Shankar. Fine.
So one more thing. Ganesh, if I ask you to explain the same thing by tomorrow, will you be able to explain? So that level I'm expecting from you, because I mean, you may need to explain the same thing in the interview. It by tomorrow or day after tomorrow, within ourselves. Within ourselves.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So we talked about environments. Any doubts on environments?
No, Shankar, clear.
Right. So apart from the server's keyword, environment's keyword is most important.
And I have a question here, Shankar. Being a DevOps engineer, on which environment we work on? The monitoring and the deployment?
See, monitoring and deployment are the activities. See, I'll just draw here one more time. Dev, QA, stage, will not add pre-prod or UAT. There are other environments like pre-prod and UAT. So these are all the environments. So we call it as dev environment, QA environment, stage environment, production environment. Okay. On this, we do deploy packages. We monitor different services, system, like that. These are all common across all environments. Is it clear?
Yes, Shankar, yeah.
Okay, if you have some doubts, ask me. It's okay, not a problem. Those are all the environments in which the DevOps engineer will be working on. What are the different activities he does? Can you tell me what is the first step he would do in order to work on these environments? What are the different stages he will go through? Any clue?
Like working on the requirement.
Your daily use case. Say you want to buy from Amazon. You don't have any device. What is the first thing you do? You buy a device.
Buy a device.
Correct? That means what a DevOps engineer will do, he will create the infra. Okay, that is the first step towards creating servers or deploying app. Clear? So yes. Feel free to ask questions.
It's clear, Shankar.
Okay. So before creating an app, you might ask from where these hardwares coming up, right? Any idea from where these things are maybe you're buying? Any answer for this? From where we are buying all this as a company? As of now, it is cloud. It could be AWS cloud, Azure cloud, or GCP cloud. Clear?
Yes.
What are the different services that you require in order to deploy or run your application? Any fundamental 4 requirements? Private network, which is called VPC, virtual private cloud. Then compute. Computers EC2. What is the next thing you can think of? Storage. Because without storage, you cannot really store multiple things or huge files. It could be S3 or EBS, elastic block storage, or simple storage service. That is to store files, images, like that. This is for operating system. This is for CIDR, subnet, like that. Okay, what is the last thing that you need to do? You have to have, for example, you are creating your customer information. You are allowing people to register. Where do you store your user data, user information?
Database.
Exactly. So the last thing, which is one of the other most important service, that is database, which is called RDS in AWS, which is nothing but relational database. You might have heard about RDBMS, right? RD, Relational Database Management Service. Or simply heard about MySQL, right?
Yes.
So what it does, what MySQL does, I'm just moving a little ahead of RDS. It does it stores information
It's
in
a
the
database which stores the information, the data.
in the table format: name, age, qualification, address, like that. It stores maybe username, password, like that. It may store it. What happens for person 1 if you're trying to access some information based on this person 1? It'll go and fetch the age, qualification, address, whatever you want. It can fetch like this. Is it correct? Is it clear?
Yes, Shankar.
So this is all about the fundamentals of cloud and what do we do in order to create an infra. So now I would like to ask you a few questions. What is the first thing that a DevOps engineer will do in an organization before he deploys any application? What is the first thing that he does?
Creating the infra.
Yeah. Create infra. Then what could be the next step? You think about your mobile smartphone that you are buying, right? As soon as you bought, you get everything done, or you do some uh, basic things before you start working on it. Install, configure, correct? Maybe install necessary packages, necessary applications, configure authentication, password, whatever you want to do, that you do it on the existing infrastructure that you created. Correct?
Yes.
Then only you think about your application deployment. That is nothing but developed by a developer which is having some application code. Then only you do a deploy on this. That's when your server is ready. This is nothing but your build. It is called build. Why it is called a build? It is ready to be shipped. For example, you have thousands of images. You want to send it to your friend's computer. What do you do? First step,
We'll try to zip the file and we'll check, I mean, through what is the media to send the images to the other system.
correct. The first thing is you zip it, right?
Yeah.
Or compress it. Because you can your size can come down and it is a single file. Is our intention correct?
Yes.
Similarly, what happens is when you are developing a product, there may be multiple models being developed by developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4. What happens, because it has to be integrated, right? Or not all the features can be released separately. So this whole thing will become a build. And this will be shipped. That means it will be stored in the artifact store. Artifacts. Artifact store is nothing but something like storage.
All files, right? Something
Local storage. From where you can download further and deploy it in your servers. Clear?
Yes. So artifact comes after the build stage is complete, and that will be stored in the artifact stage, right?
Correct. It is after build.
Okay.
Or you can call it as once the build is complete. Okay, moving further. Any questions so far, whatever we have seen?
Can you just show me the previous slide once, Shankar?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
This is the most critical part for sure. See, developer 1, developer 2, developer 3, developer 4 working on different features. Say, for example, feature 1, feature 2, feature 3, feature 4. Like that, they are working. Say, for example, one person is working on login feature, one person is working on cart, one person is working on payment, or one person is working on probably user registration. So all of these things needs to be clubbed together and then must be archived, and we should create a build out of it, so that only this can be deployed as an application in the server. Clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Now, what is the? Now you tell me. You already said create infra is the first step. What is it? Create infra is the first step for DevOps. So this you are very clear, right? Right now.
Yes,
Yes,
Shankar.
Shankar.
Okay. What is the goal of DevOps? The primary goal of DevOps is automation. There are other goals for DevOps, that is like collaboration and communication. Automation using tools. So automation using tools, communication, collaboration are the major characteristics or major goals of DevOps. Clear?
Yes, Shankar.
Yes, Shankar.
So we talked about automation, we talked about infra creation. What he needs to think about next? What is the next thing he has to think about? I want an answer from you because it is very important.
Is it deployment?
Now,
No.
couple of I already told you
Okay.
the key goal of DevOps, and the first activity that DevOps does is infrastructure creation.
Yes.
So, what is the exact thing that he should think about it now? So, there are two things. Now, I'll just go back. Infra that you need to create. Automation is a major goal of DevOps. So, what is the thing he has to think about? Ganesh?
Yes, Shankar.
It's okay, even if it is wrong, it is okay. Just speak out.
No idea, Shankar.
First step towards your goal, your DevOps journey. So I'll give you some time. Think about it and come and tell me. There is a infra that needs to be created, correct? You have a
Yes.
goal, that is automation. Connect these two pieces and give me an answer. I already give a big clue. Connect two pieces.
Between development and operation, like that.
Okay. See, I'll give you one more example. Okay. When you buy a new laptop,
Okay.
you will get a plain laptop or with a operating system.
With operating system.
The operating system only.
Correct? That
Yeah.
means there is a bare metal, which is a hardware. There are people working on it to create the operating system on it. That means there is some automation in place or a manual stuff that they do. But at the end, when you buy a new laptop, get your laptop with the OS. Correct? Okay. Now I'm going to give you a little answer to this. Automate, right? I just changed automation to automate. Can you fill the gap?
Automate tasks like building, testing. Automate the infra.
Automate the infra. Okay. Automate the infra creation.
How do we do it? How do we do it? That's again already explained using tools.
Tools.
What are the tools that are used for creating on infrastructure?
Terraform.
Terraform. Here, create infra. So we use automation. Now you tell me what that we create. Okay. Can you tell me what are the different pieces that we create while creating the infra?
Like the VM creation.
Yeah, correct. VM creation, but we should think about networking, compute. So four pillars, right? Networking, compute, storage,
Server.
and the last database. Then we put the server. Because we know exactly we have to run an operating system, we have to store files, we have to store user data, user info. This is the most basic fundamental thing for running a server. Networking is nothing but making your network private. Let's take that. I mean, with the Terraform. There are 4 stages. Init, Okay. Can you read the stages?
Yes, in Terraform we need init stage, validate stage, plan, and deploy stages.
Any idea what init does?
Initializing.
Yeah, initializing the plugins. Another correction required to connect to AWS. What does validate do? Syntax check. What does plan do? It gives an idea. How many resources will be created, modified, removed. This is what the purpose of plan. What does deploy do? Actual changes to AWS cloud. Is it clear? Ganesh?
Yes.
Any idea what destroy do? Removes all the resources that are created by deploy stage. So this is not deploy, this is apply. I just used a deploy. It was supposed to be apply. Init, validate, plan, and apply, and destroy. Okay. Any doubts so far?
The same stages comes with Ansible as well, or this different from Terraform?
It's different from Terraform, for sure.
Okay.
In Terraform, there are 2 things. The format is HCL, Hashic or configuration language. This is something similar to JSON format. What is JSON format? Any idea? You should have a Python knowledge on this, like list and dict. List is supposed to be like this. This is what is called as list. Dictionary is represented with the curly braces. Say A:1. We have a value which is associated to a particular variable. B:2, like that. It's a key value pair. Key value pair. This is just a collection. Collection of single arguments. So the Python basic list and dict are part of JSON. We will talk about a JSON, how to write a JSON file, how to read a JSON file. Okay, any questions on this?
Oh, Shankar.
Sure. I would like to stop the presentation at this point. I'll go for a Q&A session. If you have any doubts, anything, you ask me.
So, Shankar, so far we covered like the basic of, I mean, the roles and responsibilities, how actually the structured way of DevOps work is it? Like starting from the environment to the development, I mean, developer part, and how we automate using the Terraform. That's it, right? I mean, we have not pitched into the subject yet.
It is a high level introduction.
Understand. Yeah.
What is DevOps? What do we plan to do it? What are the things that we do? What is the first step towards DevOps? And one of the most fundamental, another part that I wanted to cover it here itself, that I just recollected. So, in order to manage the automation code, we need Git. That is source code management. Why this is required? For team collaboration. For the team collaboration, because there are multiple people working on your organization. They will also be contributing to your code base, like, because there are so many people in your organization, they are contributing to the project. So Git is a first tool, primary tool that is used for source code management and version control. When I say version control, any idea what is version control? Say you are developing your resume. You say _01. After that, you modify it, you say _02. After a few months, you put some experience, you say that _03. Do you do it or not?
Yes, we do. Yep.
So you maintain a different versions from time to time. How do we maintain the different versions? That is called as version control system, or source code management system. For that, we use Git. Git is itself is a protocol. GitLab or GitHub are the repository servers or file servers where you store the code. and retrieve the code whenever it is required. Any doubts?
Is GitLab and GitHub both the same? I know Git is a local repository and GitHub is a repository in the servers, but is GitLab and GitHub both the same?
It is like Amazon and Flipkart. There is no difference.
Okay.
These are different features.
Okay, both serves the same purpose, right?
Different features. That's all. They'll offer different features.
Okay.
Do you see Amazon Prime in Flipkart? No, right? But they ultimately provide similar services. They probably have some extra services. So you cannot really compare directly, but at the end, they are the online platform, right? Online shopping platform. That's a high level.
Understood. Yeah.
The next most important thing is when we say automation, continuous is very important. Continuous is nothing but automation, because we don't want to have no manual execution or no manual intervention. Okay, when we say continuous, it should be continuously done. We have to again use a tool. That is nothing but what operations it will do? CI and CD. What is CI? What
Continuous
is CI?
integration.
Continuous integration.
Continuous integration. What is CD?
Continuous deployment.
Exactly. Continuous deployment. So what is deployment? I told you a couple of times. Deployment is all about installation and configuration. See, if you think about any of the application that you are installing on your smartphone, right? Say, for example, you are installing a Redbus app. What do you do first? You do install. Then you are able to connect and then book your this one directly.
No, we need to configure it.
Yeah, you need to log in
Login.
and configuration parameters. Then only your app is becoming accessible, right? Similar to that, when we say that it is a deployment, there is some kind of installation happens, some kind of configuration happens.
Okay.
All including this one, it is called deployment. Okay, in order to not to get confused yourself, I'm just giving you this explanation. This is most clear.
Yes, it is.
Can we have a recap of what we have covered so far?
Sure.
So what we have covered so far, SDLC, okay. What is the first thing we saw? SDLC. What is the next thing?
The different environments.
Okay, cool. Different environments like dev, test, stage, and prod.
Creating infra.
Infra. Then we talked about automation. How to automate the creation. Then when we talked about automation, we talked about Terraform.
Tools, yeah, Terraform.
Exactly. Tools. Then when we talked about Terraform, we talked about workflow. Workflow here is init, validate, plan, and apply. And we talked about what is the format in which the code is written. That is HCL.
Yes. Yeah.
It is similar to this.
Yeah, fine.
Similar to JSON format. Then we talked about Git tool, and then GitLab. Then we talked about CI/CD. So this one is kind of tool called, we call it as GitLab only, but it is a GitLab CI. Only the repository which provides, that is called the GitLab. The CI/CD provided by GitLab CI. Okay, you are able to connect different pieces now.
Yes, Shankar.
Yeah, Shankar.
What happens? I'll again go back. You have a bash. You have a git bash. On that you write Terraform code, and you put it in your Git repository using Git CLI tool. You put it in a GitLab repository. For the CI/CD, you use the subsidiary part of GitLab, that is GitLab CI, and then it is connected to AWS cloud. And for the authentication, we use access key and secret key. That is nothing but on your Git bash, you do a AWS configure. This is what it allows to authenticate to AWS cloud and then create resources for you. Clear?
Yes.
If you're able to connect all the pieces and the workflow and the different tools, you're kind of almost done with the basic introduction of DevOps, basic introduction of DevOps tools. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Okay, is it fine? Shall we conclude today's session?
Yes, Shankar.